Welcome. This is a video on the Simpler Sprinter Rules version 1.1. In SSR version 1.1, you have nothing to do unless the blue MACD goes out of the mids. So these lighter background changes are when the blue MACD crosses through the mids. And basically it works like this. Let's take this example for a historical downtrend. Blue MACD goes outside the lower mids. That's your signal 1. Signal 1, blue MACD goes outside the lower mids. Signal 2 is white MACD goes inside the mids. So at this point in time, we don't have signal 2. So basically we stay out until roughly about here when we get signal 2. Signal 3, volume for a downtrend goes below the lower danger zone. Volume goes below the lower danger zone. So you have signal 3. You only need 3 signals, 1, 2, and 3. If you don't have signals 1 and signal 2, there's nothing to do. Once you have signal 1, 2, and 3, yeah, you could go in there and take that short. But you also have signal 4. Signal 4 is when the Arun is for a downtrend with the blue outside the mids. So the sequence of events here is that we have signal 1, we got signal 4, and we have to wait until, then we got signal 3, but we still have to wait until we had signal 2. Once signal 2 was in place, we get a green light to take that short. And short we go. We stay in that short, stay in that short, stay in that short until either the blue MACD heads back to the mids right here, or your ultimate exit, your very last exit, is blue MACD cross through the white MACD going down right here. That's your ultimate, your last possible exit. That's a downtrend. Let's try an uptrend. We could not have taken this uptrend because we didn't get the blue MACD go outside the mids until here. But you got to realize that this is just a continuation of where the sprint began. The sprint actually began back here. This is when we got signal 4, Arun outside the mids. We got signal 1, blue outside the mids. We got signal 3, volume for an uptrend must be inside the danger zone in your favor, going up. And we have signal 2, the white MACD inside the mids, in this case going up. So at this point in time, when the blue MACD goes outside the upper mids, yeah, we are in there for the long. And we stay in there for the long until right here when the blue MACD heads back down into the mids. And as you notice, once the blue MACD and the volume gang up together, you better just plain exit. Get out. Take your profit. Now, would we take this for a short? Technically, we can. We can take this short because we got signal 1, blue MACD outside the lower mids. We got signal 2, white MACD inside the mids. We've got signal 3, volume outside the lower danger zone. We've got signal 4, Arun outside the lower mids with the blue MACD. Yes, we could have taken that short, but we would get out right away as the blue MACD and the Arun gang up together to go back into the mids. And actually, that may not be profitable for us. If we realize that this is just a continuation of the uptrend because the white MACD never crossed down below the zero, we would immediately, without having to wait for signal 1, to just go take this for the long, because that's a white MACD zero bounce off the zero. But what are the requirements? The requirements are the Arun above the white, the blue MACD going with you above the zero, and the volume also above the zero. And then you can go take that long. And of course our exit is blue cross down through the white, and that's our ultimate exit for that long. That's where we get out. Let's look at another example. This downtrend that you see here, actually the sprint begins right here. And this is just a continuation of that downtrend as a lower valley was being created. Here, a higher peak was being created for that uptrend that we just covered. So let's go through the signals. Signal 1, blue MACD outside the lower mids. Yes. Signal 2, white MACD inside the mids. Yes. Signal 3, we don't have volume below the lower mids, not at this time. But this is where signal 3 and signal 4 balance out each other. You just need one of 3 or one of 4, or both of them, even better. So we got signal 1, blue outside the lower mids. We got signal 2, white MACD inside the mids. We don't have signal 3, but we have signal 4, Arun with the blue outside the lower mids. We would take it because the Arun meets the requirement that we don't have volume with us, because volume needs to be outside the lower danger zone, but not at this time. But the Arun is enough for us to go take that short. And we would stay with that short until blue heads back again towards the mids. This is our exit. And blue cross the white, the ultimate exit. You really need to obey the ultimate exit. When blue cross the white, you gotta get out. No ifs, ands, or buts. Let's continue with the historical review. Let's review another uptrend. In this uptrend, this is the sprint. Do we have signal 1, blue outside the upper mids for an uptrend? Yes. Do we have signal 2, white MACD inside the mids? Yes. Do we have signal 3, volume inside the danger zone? Not quite yet, not until later. But we do have signal 4, Arun with the blue outside the upper mids. And we could take the long right there. Where do we exit? Right here, as the blue MACD turns and heads back into the mids. And the ultimate exit right here, as blue MACD crosses the white MACD. You need to exit. Can we pick up this continued uptrend? Yes, and you'd have to pick it up when all the colors are going with you, up colors, and the lines have gone above the zero. The blue is above the zero, the volume is above the zero, as well as that Arun is outside the upper mids. Yes, pick it up. Go ahead. Get in there and get out on the color change of the blue as the blue turns to head down towards the zero. That's your exit. Let's do another downtrend. This downtrend here, the sprint actually does not begin until here, because that's when the volume goes outside the lower danger zone. But you can see that, yeah, you had some kickback, you had some retraces that would have given you a heart attack. But hey, that's the way it is. We would have been warned that the trend, the market dance has changed. We're no longer trending towards the upside. But we would have noticed that, hey, there's a gap here between blue going outside the lower mids, and then later on, the Arun gets outside the lower mids. So that's a pretty wide gap. Plus, let's go through the signals. Do we have signal 1, blue outside the lower mids for a short? Yes. Do we have signal 2, white inside the mids? No. Nothing to do. We'd have to wait until the white MACD gets inside the mids. But right here, volume is not with us, nor the Arun. The Arun is above the white MACD, so still nothing to do. Over here, still nothing to do, because the Arun is still above the white MACD. Here, now we can decide on whether to take a downtrend, but we don't do so against the blue MACD. We have to take the downtrend right here, once the blue MACD changes to our color, the down color. So that's where we would start taking the downtrend. And we were warned way before that the trend already has changed, but we couldn't do anything because the lines were not in our favor until all the lines have the down color right through here, and therefore, yep, take that downtrend. And our ultimate exit right here. We get out right away as blue enters into the mids and crosses the white MACD. If you follow the simpler sprinter rules, you will always be profitable. I've already proven that out on my 40-day journey in simulation. You've just got to make sure that you follow the SSR without question. Those 3 rules, those 4 signals need to be there. At least signals 1, 2, and 3, or 1, 2, and 4. It'd be nice if all 4 were there, but if signals 1 and 2 or 2 are missing, there's nothing for you to do. You just plain wait. But most of all, you need to recognize when the sprint actually began and where you are in trend continuation. So let's look at this downtrend so that you can get into your mind when the sprint down actually began. The sprint down actually began right here. Signal 1, blue outside lower mids. Yes. Signal 2, white MACD inside the mids. Yes. Signal 3, not quite yet, but we do have signal 4 going with the blue MACD, which is a strong signal because they're together as we exited the lower mids. So technically, yeah, you could go take this short right this early, and you would get out as blue heads back into the mids, or realize that the volume is essentially staying below the 0. And yeah, you may want to hold, but I don't recommend that because we're sprinters. As sprinters, whenever blue, if you're in a position and whenever blue heads towards the mids, you get out. You just plain get out. And as the white MACD is now below the 0 and everybody is the down color, go ahead and take the continuation down. Because number 1, that's a price line bounce off the 50 EMA. Number 2, that's the white MACD being flat and finally bouncing off the MACD 0. And number 3, you've got pretty much 3 signals. Signal 1, blue MACD outside the lower mids, yes. Signal 2, white MACD inside the mids, yes. Signal 3, volume outside the lower danger zone, not quite. but you do have signal 4, together with the blue MACD going outside the lower mids, which is a strong sign. Get in there and take that short. And we would stay in that short, stay in that short, stay in that short, stay in that short, and take profit right here as a sprinter. And once you become much more experienced, you would realize that as long as the Arun is staying down here, outside, way outside the lower mids, and the volume does not go back up through the zero, you are in a continued downtrend. Another way of saying that is that the Arun has created a base here to keep us in a continued downtrend until the white MACD heads back towards the mids. And this is where that continued downtrend officially ends. As you can see, the Arun crosses back up into the white MACD as the volume goes above the zero and as the blue MACD pops outside the upper mids. Time to exit this long continued downtrend. Again, you had the sprint back here, but then you had to get out. You had another sprint here, but you had to get out, unless you recognize that this is a continuation, in which case you would get in when all the lines are with you right here. And you'd stay in until blue MACD exits the upper mids. And that's the end of following this sustained downtrend. But that's only a much more experienced skill that you will need to build up. The only skill that I'm asking of you, if you are going to be trading as a sprinter, is to only do the sprints. Recognize what an up sprint looks like for a long. Recognize what a down sprint looks like for a short. And you will be fine if you follow the rules. Follow when you should get in, follow when you should be out. And don't violate those rules. And you will remain profitable. Yes, you may only get $5 here, $10 here, but they're all positive, they're not negative, when you follow the rules. Many blessings.